So, hello, good evening. Welcome to another daily co-working space, co-working hour, writing. I'll invite you to write with me, to write on your own stories, to listen to me, or to learn about publishing, ask your questions, and or to join me in writing my next novel. For myself, I mostly use this stream simply as a motivation tool to get some daily writing done. Last time we focused on getting a first version up on Amazon. That works. So I'll just show you. We worked on the chapters, the table of contents. And today we look at the cover art. So we have a first cover as well as the description of the book. And we will do some more cleaning up and then do an actual start the actual pre-order. So we will work on that. Okay, I'm not yet sure if we should start the pre-order simply because I'm not yet 100% sure about the title, but we will do everything preparing for that. Okay. So maybe we'll just start with cleaning up. So I'm still using my book template. It is available on my website or in my book, Better Books, writing. Better Books for LaTeX, the Agile Way. I'll just post the link here in a moment. Still loading. Okay. While it loads, I will work. Okay, it's just finished. So this is this one. I also have basically the entire book also available as blog posts on my website, although it's nicer to have it, of course, directly as a PDF or as a ebook or printed book. Okay, so cleaning up. So the default template contains a number of things we will not need. We certainly have to adapt this one, other books. I'm not sure if I would actually name my non-fiction books because maybe one of my non-fiction books, the one about neuroscience, and the other ones I leave open for discovery. Recommended reading, that's more about also non-fiction books. So if they have read one book, I would recommend the other. The author, I have to check what's currently in there about myself. Book story, well, we'll see. Reflection, Eureka, those are more about learning stuff. We can probably remove those. Glossary, that will be an interesting decision. So if we actually should add a glossary, for example, Philip K. Dick does it or did it, or I think there's a separate book about it where he uses special synonyms for special, computers, mechanisms, societal constructs, which add a little bit immersion to it. So the people in his worlds actually use different words than we do. But it also takes you a little bit out of it. So probably I will remove that. Quotation sources, maybe the quotations in the chapters, but I think we can do without them. Bibliography, we'll probably don't need that one because, well, maybe in the footnotes, and the important final note, we'll leave that in for now. Similarly, we should examine if you really need a preface in a novel. People usually skip that, so it's probably best to also remove it. Publisher's note, so you can imagine books like in the early days, you have an author that provides you basically the basic story or the basic book. Then you have a binding around that, and that is maybe provided by his publisher or his or her publisher, and also by other people basically working on the on actually binding the book. So the publisher, the printer has maybe another page, then the person actually binding the actual book, and that book comes maybe in a package, and etc. etc. So you have different people adding layers to the core story, and we actually don't need that for the novel. It's more for non-fiction books. Same with introduction. Well, this is also more a story-driven part, the introduction, and again, that is missing from non-fiction books usually. I mean, they can't just start. I mean, if you would just start with some facts also going on, then you don't have an orientation, or the reader doesn't have an orientation. So you need some sort of introduction to frame the information that is in the book. So why is that information important? But as we are telling a story, the actual story should start with our protagonist, and it should start basically not as a omniscient person that knows everything and that can tell you some backstory, but really as really putting yourself either into the shoes of the protagonist or very close to her. Dedication, that is more a personal note of an author. Well, we don't necessarily need it. Maybe I will put it at the end. Okay, so basically a lot of cleaning up. Once that is done, we jump to Amazon and see what else we need. We probably need some more keywords. We need a description. Also, although we can edit a description later, and then Also, we need to edit the title and the subtitle, and that is that. I mean, we can't change that. I think after the pre-order, I'll just check. I think it would make sense if we can't change it. So it says here on Amazon, the field cannot be changed after your book is published. So, but what is about pre-order? I'll just search for it. Pre-order, change title, published. So at least here there's some info here. Okay, if your book isn't polished and ready for publication, you have no business doing pre-orders. Leave that to the well-known authors where it makes sense, because they have an established fan base that will actually pre-order a book. Okay. Okay, here it says, okay, for ebooks, you can indeed change the title, though you can't do for a paperback. You don't have to delete the book or anything. Okay, that's actually something I have to check with my other books if I can change them. So you can't really change the title for softcover books. But for ebooks, you certainly can change it. You can change. I'll just check if I can change my own book here. Ah, okay. Neat. I should actually think about that. And for example, this is my book, Does Your Brain Need You? So this is already published, but I can change the title. So I could say, does your brain need you in 2022 or something? Okay. Should think about that. Okay, that makes it easier, less stressful. So the title of the book, or the working title of the book, is Clouds of Venus. I really like the title. The only challenge I have is with this title, it's already taken. I didn't copy it from there. I did arrive at the name on my own, and at that time, I think the other books weren't released yet. Also, you can actually publish a book with a title that is already available with the same title. So that is so I really like it because it really is about the central theme. It gives a little bit of mystery. So this will be challenging. So we will still need to think about this one. Okay. So then let's. When I'm unsure about something, I'll just do what I can do on other construction sites of the book until I'm clear how to proceed. Okay, so to clean up the other parts, we go into the main text, and in the main text there's basically the table of contents in terms of inputs. So input just means it includes that other file. So the publisher page, that is just, well, it's mostly for print. Where is it? Oh, that's further up. That's just stuff. So we don't need a dedication, epigraph. We will need the table of contents, and this table of contents, this is automatically generated. So if I just find it, no, where did it go? Here. So this is automatically generated based on the chapter and section section commands. Okay. So we don't need this one. So, and there's also a title and half title. Again, this goes back to how the books were originally bound. I mean, actually in paper. And you have, I think, the printer doing one, putting one paper around it, and then the publisher or something like that. So different people, different binds. So we will just keep this one, but we will update the picture. So the other things are just settings for the design. Then our main part here with okay, we still have the forward and preface. So currently there's, I think, nothing. There's just a quote. There's nothing. So we'll just leave it out. We leave the publisher in. We leave the table of contents in. And then, of course, the main part here. And then the back matter. We have the part called advertisement. That's here. Okay, other books by your name. Okay, I could add one book, but we can do that. Well, let's just add it now. So we will go to back advertisement. Back advertisement, and here basically, okay, it also includes here a summary. So we will rearrange that a little bit and just have one page with a picture of the book and with text below it. Okay, so currently it uses here 4 pictures, and we will just use one picture. And the one picture we will use is called does your brain need you? PNG. This is just a random name. We don't need this one, and we need to upload this image. One moment. Quickly do it. So it's best to have all your files organized, especially those you will need again and again. For example, you will need a lot of time your cover image. So it's best to have that organized, ideally already in different sizes, maybe in different dimensions even, for different social media maybe. So I have it here, so I just need to open the image and just upload it here. So I can just drag it over there, and I need the JPEG version. Zip. And it's called Does Your Brain Need You 800? So, one moment. Okay. Just checking here. Okay. Good. Okay, everything fine. So we have replaced the image, and then maybe we'll just call it does your brain need you? And then we'll add some description. If you were, or if you liked this book and want to know more about neuroscience and consciousness, check out Does Your Brain Need You? Also by Klemslut. We don't need that. And maybe we will put that to the top, and we'll we have to check the size. So we'll just recompile. So we're now at 84 pages, but we plan to reduce that. Okay. So now at 66, and our goal is, well, 100 to 200. So, okay, contents, we started with the actual mission, and we'll start directly here into the action, and that's what we want. That's what we decided last time. That works. Okay. Okay, that's it. So, and now we'll just check here. Does your brain need you? 37. Well, it's a little bit misleading because it feels like, okay, it is part of the story. You might have to, so great. A bit larger. So if you like this book, want to know more about neuroscience, check out Does Your Brain Need You? Also by Clemens Lode. Available at HB. And the address, let me check. Address is here we go. And I think we need to add this as a URL. Okay. We could make it a little bit larger, but it's fine for now. So, and it even, at least for the PDF, you can add hot links. Okay, there's something wrong. There was something wrong. What was wrong here? I think it didn't get the right. Oh, interesting. Maybe it doesn't like the. Well, okay. Still have to do a. Maybe like this. No. There we go. Oh, I don't know. Okay. To-do invalid link. So you can always add to-dos to your work, meaning at the end you can search through your document and for to-do, and these are still open things you need to examine. But generally, I mean, I use it if I want to do something else and want to proceed, and if this is just something I need to spend an hour figuring out why it didn't want that type of URL, then that's how I. Okay, I think I actually know what happens here. It is more an issue of the previewer here. So this is actually not an. So probably if I download it and then click on it, then it should work. So it's page 37. Okay, it doesn't have. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, it's an issue of the URL command. Line break URL LaTeX. Yeah. Okay, it's something with the URL settings, URL package settings command. Okay. Anyway, we'll just continue cleaning up the rest. So we have still the recommended reading. We will remove that as well. Really a focus on the story. So we have the advertisement, just edited. The recommended reading we will remove because we don't have many references. Author, we could, yeah, I'm not sure how much they need to know about a novel author. So I'll just remove that and they can read it on the back of the book. Yeah, well, let's just keep it in and check it later. What's about the book story itself. So how the book came to be could be, but I rather want impact beyond. So this is the game I'm building, and that uses the same world. So this is actually I want to add here. So impact beyond. We can just use chapter here. Impact beyond. So maybe we'll. Okay, this is also a chapter. I mean, this is just a random node, but still, let's keep it consistent. So yeah, a lot of these work is just pushing around stuff in the in the editor, and that's why it's important to prepare a book well so that you don't have to move stuff later again and again. So impact beyond, maybe a short introduction. Impact beyond, I already wrote something about it. Short introduction. So this is what I wrote in the other book. Impact beyond. So the point here is to make it clear what impact beyond, how impact beyond relates to Clouds of Venus. So we'll just say, okay, Impact Beyond is a science fiction themed strategic game for 2 or 8 players. It uses the same world as a uses the same world as Clouds of Venus as a backstory. Here, one tip. It's not that important here, but if you have a lot of references to a certain title, name or so, you can define it as a variable. So if you change it at one place, you can change it everywhere in the book. But I expect that this is the only place where I reference the book title, actually. So it uses the world as Clouds of the same world as Clouds of as a backstory. So just rewrite it a little bit in the game. You will select one of the 8 politically divergent mega organizations that compete to lead the world after A, and now we say the disastrous impact because we are referencing here the same story as Clouds of Venus. So, and here we could add a picture. Challenge is the pictures from Impact Beyond are in color, meaning they're printed in color while the novel itself is printed black and white. So we have to double check later if it also looks good in black and white. Just checking. Okay, so we'll just add the color here as well. I think that's in the title. So I have another overleaf open with the rule book. So we have the title, and somewhere is the picture. Here we go. Okay. I'll just copy it here. So we need Shutterstock. We need this. We need to upload this. Need to again also with the stock footage. I have a subscription at Shutterstock, but it's good to have that all in one place so that it's easy to find, and maybe even share it with your designer if you're working with one, so that you always share the same assets. Okay, so where did I have it? I have it in images. I think in images. Games. Images. Okay, I think I know. Have it in the other. Well, okay, I still have to organize it a little bit. Okay, this is 7 megabytes. Well, I don't care at this point. Well, maybe I do care. So because this will be primarily a Kindle one, so you should optimize your pictures. Usually that is something done also by Amazon, but you want to see how it looks already in a compressed format. So the simplest one is called GIMP. GIMP 2.0, 2.1 It's a free editing software. You can also use Photoshop, of course. And then we have this one here, and it's way too big. I mean, too detailed. We can add some compression to it and export it. Oops. Okay, doing that. Export as compressed. And even if it's like 70% quality for a JPEG, that's totally fine. Okay. Oh. Okay, so we'll upload it. Zip. And we'll just use compressed. And here's a lot of stuff going on. Chapter and all. Maybe we'll put it like this. And we'll remove this. Of course, we don't have game rules or something like that. We'll just see how it looks. Oh, well, here we go. It's also good to format your code a little bit and use those indentations with your tabulator, simply to have all those nested boxes correctly aligned. Okay. I mean, it has no functionality in that regard, but it's just nice to look at. Okay, right. Okay, I put the image above, so I need to put the image below the whole thing. And recompile. Yeah, well, it's not. But I mean, the point is it is there, and we can still improve it later. So where do you have it? There we go. So we would improve that, of course. But at least it is there. There is a page in the book that could lead readers to the website, and maybe we should add some to-do here. To-do link to Kickstarter. To-do link to website or shop, where they can learn more about it. Okay. So what else do we got? So we got the, so this was the, yeah. Okay. This was Impact Beyond. And we don't need the book story. So then questions, ideas, and glossary, and we will just skip that, as well as quotations. We won't need those. Bibliography, we will not cite anything. An index, again, this is more for non-fiction books. Here, the index, we don't need that. And we also have Amazon and the last page. So the last page is a little bit of a gimmick. I mean, you can just add a quote at the last page. And an important final note, we might want to rewrite this a little bit, specifically for Kindle, but the point is here to have some sort of, okay, you have read it, now please add a rating, even if that is, or a feedback, even if that is not good. I always say it's like an applause to a musician, although it's a little bit harder for a musician to read really into an applause. Like today, they really like it, well, they didn't like it. That's a little bit more. Okay. So then we'll just recompile, double check and see the current page count as well as, oh, well, okay. And the last thing is the author page we need to check. Okay. Okay, there's nothing currently on the author page. So we'll just remove that for now. And there are a lot of empty pages here. Okay, so we have the last page with the applause. We have some empty pages we might need to deal with. Okay, there's a blank page. So the focus really of the PDF is that it's a printed book. So in the PDF, this blank page won't. On Kindle, the blank page won't appear, of course. Still, we have a little bit too many, so let's just remove that. So then we have the actual chapters. The chapters are also very focused on, okay, a lot of space here. Not sure if you want to add an image there. We'll see. Just recompile. Yeah, so now we're at 45 and we have, well, around 60 pages to write. And I think that works. And we can even reduce the number of pages if we don't have that very spacey, or that takes a lot of space, those chapters here. Okay. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, we also have the whole idea thing we could copy. That's also something we could do. Yeah, again, my approach is to first prepare everything for writing. I mean, basically, I have well, not literally, but I imagine I have a second desk just for writing. And on that second desk, I have put all the ideas, the research, the characters, etc., already sorted. So the first step is actually to sort through the ideas and put them in the right place. And once they're in the right place, we can more easily work instead of just interrupting our work each time. Okay. Okay, so what we will do, yeah, let's focus today on that. More cleaning up. So what we will do is create a copy of this one. Just copy it. So this is just a backup copy of all our ideas. And now work on the ideas file, and whenever we have copied an idea to the appropriate chapter here of the 7, then we can delete it here. For example, So we have this whole backstory here, but here's the question still where we put it. Basically, what we said when organizing the book, we said, okay, for example, the backstory we can refer to now and then. That shouldn't be a problem. So in the rest here, okay, we can already hear. The outcome we have already defined. We have said, okay, they attempt to build a colony ship. They attempt to do the whole World Climate Council. They fight the factory. No, they recapture industries we had and overthrow the killer robot. So we have all that. So we don't need that. So character development, she removes the implant and still has her confidence. We have that somewhere further up. I think we here, right. She removes the implant and keeps her confidence. So wait, we have also this. Okay. No, we removed that. Okay, did we? No, this was a different file. Right. Okay, we already sorted out the different parts of that. Okay, so this file is way too large. So all the backstory parts we will just put into backstory. So this will be a file where we put all the things we can return to in a reflective moment of the character. So then we are on Earth or on the way to Mars. And we need this here as a to-do. So joining or working at a mega organization, that would be a backstory. We put this to backstory. Still, we could also use on the way to Mars, or we skip this. Okay, actually, we skip this. This would also be backstory. Okay, but we could use also the situation here, the emergency situation, to describe an overconfident person. And the backstory, like what did she experience on Earth? What did she experience on the way to Mars? We can all use flashbacks. Okay. So then 5 years in between. We could also add this as a backstory, 5 years until the Mars mission. So this is also a part here. And we have the failure setting Mars mission. I think that is already clear here in the first chapter. So shaken, lost in confidence, and returning. That includes the committee. And that's the outcome. So she can't fly anymore. So that is basically happening here. Okay, her back on Earth, coping with failure. She can't fly anymore. And shocking news on television. Although we came up with that last time. Yeah. So then she receives the implant at the doctor. And we also have she goes on a mission. Yeah, so she gets back her license, and now the reason, the whole thing with the low priority, the training part, that's all a preparation here for the mission on Venus, although it could also be in the previous one. I mean, here, okay, she receives the implant, and that's of course a huge change in her life. And maybe it would be good, instead of talking about all the things she does on Earth with the implant. Well, I mean, it's not a superpower implant, but it is an implant, that we talk about that actually on the space station. So talk about what she actually can do on the space station. So we're doing a little of a jump here. Otherwise it becomes boring if you just explain that here. But it will be a little bit tricky to explain it correctly here. So, I mean, she gets the implant, and then with the job interview, etc. So we might even say, okay, it ends. The chapter might end at the door of the doctor, and then again later flashback, like, what did the doctor say about this and that side effect? Instead of having like those two sitting down and explaining the procedure. I mean, it could be done. This would be an alternative discussion with the doctor. But it is a real discussion going on, but it would feel like a lot of exposition. I mean, the point, the point of the discussion with the doctor is exposition for the protagonist, for the Catherine character. So, I mean, no doctor, like in a normal conversation, starts spewing facts about how to get a brain implant. Okay. So then, trials and obstacles, the main story. I mean, obviously, we don't need to mention that. She removes the implant and keeps her confidence. So that is the challenging one. So it would be all in this chapter, and I think this chapter might end up being pretty long. Yeah, I have a twist here somewhere. So if you don't want to hear it, skip this part, or the next 2 minutes. So the twist would here be, she researches something on Venus, and she uses her brain implant for that. But by examining by examining the whatever she finds on Venus, it has an effect on her implant, and whatever she was examining now is in control of the implant. She examines something on Venus, now has a connection to the implant. This is also something in the book by Pierre Ouellette, I think I don't like it in terms of, okay, how could this be? But it's an interesting twist. I mean, it's possible, but unlikely. That's always the issue. Okay, so she returns as a new person. We already have that. So we had the question, why does she leave Church of Tomorrow? So she doesn't leave until she's actually put into prison. So we have that. Because she because both the discovery plus because she was put into prison. Then she has to renounce her ideas. It's a little bit a Jeanne d'Arc character. Although, well, she doesn't end up as a martyr. Okay, so the second character, Vice Specialist, so we will just copy it to the part in the prison. So it could either be here or here. Let's put it into freedom. Great. So, and then the question about the discovery of Venus. So this is multi-phase. So first we need something that interacts with her implant. Second, we need something to have to be special to Venus, for example, life. And and the question is, what is that effect on Earth? I mean, if it's like a fantasy novel, you could just say, okay, it merges with the implant, and then it is some sort of artificial intelligence. But how does it save the planet, and what does it do with climate, etc.? So this is still some stuff to do here. But where do we put it? We put it into the Venus chapter, on the life chapter. Life chapter is what she actually finds on Venus. Okay. So continuing, we have the character. That's basically the plot, the backstory plot, and we can basically look. So we already have. She's imprisoned. World is very So sabotage, we already have that. But we have the plot. Yeah, so this is the last straw. We will put it into Heroes Welcome. It's just a random idea. And we have, the government wants to suppress the information. And yeah, so this is that part. And we have then the sabotage and the positive ending. That, of course, freedom. There's another twist I planned for the freedom chapter, but it's a little bit obscure. I'm not sure if I can actually implement it here. So backstory. So the world is very authoritarian. That is also here in the Heroes Welcome. So maybe because, I mean, she took it as granted when she grew up, but maybe after these years and her experience on Venus, she maybe looks at added new eyes, and maybe she now sees some things she didn't see before about the regime. And yeah, it's not like a worldwide regime, it's just part of it, but this has to be defined here, and that is probably the best place to define. Okay, so then we have the whole backstory. We can just copy this to backstory. So if this would be, I mean, usually again, I would use some sort of like Miro, a whiteboard, a literal whiteboard with stickers. It's just I wrote so much already in text format. It's better to just use text. And what I'm basically doing here is those are seven areas on the whiteboard here, and I'm just sorting the ideas into different categories. And the categories are obviously when we are talking about this, so more the timeline. Okay, so how does the spaceship look like? We need to describe it. Do we? We might. At the late, I mean, we could skip the Mars spaceship, but we could describe when she's off to Venus. Maybe compare it with the Mars spaceship. So this allows us to keep it limited, and we actually don't need the character in quotation marks of a spaceship for the Mars failure. I mean, she just travels there, the mission fails, and then she travels back. But we will need a more close connection here for the spaceship to Venus. For example, it needs to be a spaceship that can sustain winds in the atmosphere and actually fly in the atmosphere. Okay, going on. So AI, this is still, of course, an interesting part. I kind of want it here when she discovers life to do connection of consciousness in the cloud with the brain implant, question mark. So this is just an idea. I'm not yet sure if this can actually work. Okay. I mean, it would be interesting. So the idea would be, okay, there's a life form on Venus with a neural net, and she copies the information to the spaceship, and especially her own neural net, and then she can use the implant to actually, well, be the cloud or communicate with the cloud, and maybe that could then learn to what it means to be a solid instead of a cloud. Maybe I should write it down. So she studies the cloud, she inputs all the information into a neural net. That neural net becomes conscious and learns what it means to be human. So basically the cloud learns to be human, kind of. Yeah, and that is kind of odd, obviously. Yeah, so we were at the ideas. So open question still, what technologies are discovered on Earth and at what point? And we need some characters. She interacts with both factions. That is true. So maybe we'll just add this as a to-do. So where are interactions? So there will be interactions here when she returns. So we add a to-do. Okay, we need an interrogator as a character. To-do, we might need a characterization of the leaders. So for the leaders, if you know the game Alpha Centauri, um, um, so I'll be so there are some questions in the chat. I will answer briefly in a moment once I'm done here. So the characterization of the leader. So in Alpha Centauri, so there is no direct characterization of the leaders. There's some description, I think, but they are mostly described by quotes and quotes and technologies. And I really like that idea, and I use that in the game. For example, where are we? I think somewhere at the bottom. No? Okay. Yeah, it's really a large file here. Okay, not sure why it's so slow. I needed to put it into a separate file. You might hear the CPU in the background. So while it's loading, for some reason, question is, what is a chapbook? I never used a chapbook. Just the definition from Wikipedia is a chapbook is a small publication of about up to 40 pages with a saddle stitch. In early modern Europe, a chapbook was a type of printed street literature. So maybe for short stories, maybe comparable with like those small rule books. So for example, okay, these are here, for example. Okay, these are endings. Well, okay, so in the game there are 8 endings, and each leader has a comment on those endings. So, and if you remember, we have 4 situations going on. One is the World Climate Council. And there are basically 2 opinions on that. So if it fails or if it succeeds. So and we have 2 places where this appears actually. In the game, that is at the very end. Okay, so the new UN Charter will turn economies and scientific progress around to put climate and humans in the center. Using technological advancement, we will return civilization to a sustainable state. So this could be a comment either when they are trying it or at the end when it's successful. Let's just put it into where they're trying it. That is on Earth, I think. No, right here. So here's the backstory. So that is here the attempt to create a World Climate Council. And then we have the recapturing the industries. And here it is here that the first asteroid was just a warning. And then colony ships. So they are trying to build colony ships. So here. Those two. So basically they say, okay, finally they have regained basically their power and they can now focus all the resources on building a colony ship to travel to the stars. And the Solar Plus then says, okay, the crusade of the believers who want to scrap Earth for resources to build a ship to the stars has left humanity in ruins. Takes more power to build than burn, but we'll do it. Basically, they give out a press release that this cannot stand. Okay. So this is the backstory. So other backstories we don't need. So we can remove those. And we can also remove all this. This is... think it is... Yeah. So this is all this. So these are all alternative endings. You can try check it out in the game. Okay. So and all text here is text about technologies, and we have to pick a few and then take them. Also, there's a lot of text about what the individual factions are. So I think we could copy all that for the backstory. So we could use all that for the backstory. And this is all text. This is all text. Yeah, I don't think we need that. Okay. So, backstory. Great. So we have a lot of text prepared. I mean, that is the advantage actually to do the to do the world first and have those as elements you can sprinkle in to do all the research first. Instead of writing the story. I mean, you can also write a story and then come up with different ways to describe the world and then in turn use all that research that you were doing while writing to build the world. Yeah. Okay, so this is all the description about like but I have actually newer text for this. So I will actually remove this. So I would add a few to-dos and then we are, I think, done for today. So we can add a to-do at Grand Assembly. See rulebook. Also, we have for the backstory to do add texts from rulebook. Yeah, so next step is here to describe, I mean, what we did is to have like a timeline. Okay, this happens and 5 years go by. This happens, 5 years go by. And we would also add now as a next step here what technologies were discovered at those individual steps and what technologies won't play a role in the whole thing. And for that we can use then quotes. For example, I'll just search perfect widget. I think I have sorted this a little bit differently. I have to actually look into my file. So perfect. Right. So, for example, if we use that as something, everyone knows what an apple looks like, and no one has ever seen a perfect one until now. So maybe she sees a television ad on her data stream, and then looks at the apple, and then maybe does some philosophy about Plato versus Aristotle. Well, that alone, already we have a little mini story. So she watches television, and then notices the apple, takes the apple in her hand, have a little philosophical expose about Plato versus Aristotle. Though maybe this would be nice. But I mean, just as an example, so there will be other ones we will use and we will not use. So this will be exciting. Looking forward to it. Okay, I'm finished for today. I will continue tomorrow, same time, same every day until the book is finished. In that regard, see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. If you have any comments on the stream to improve it, or if you have other ideas, just post it to me. For me, again, it's mostly as a motivation to proceed with the novel. Okay, thank you and goodbye. Oh, yeah, well, I should click the button. So, bye.